first off, if you can't remember your dreams, you're not going to know when you're dreaming, right? So you have to do that first. Second, if you don't know you're dreaming, how can you lucid dream? Because you have to be able to know when you're dreaming. You have to know you're in a dream to control the dream. So how do you get to that point?
Welcome back to Out of the Box podcast, where Steele and I, your hosts, get to talk about out of the box ideas. Today, we're going to be talking about how to lucid dream. You heard me right, how to lucid dream. So right here with me, Steele has been practicing lucid dreaming for how long? About how long?
Yeah, so since I actually started doing it, probably since middle school or high school.
Hmm.
I remember.
So it's been quite some time, at least 5 years of experience, just kind of learning about what that looks like. And so I know we've discussed what lucid dreaming is before, so I don't want to get too much into what is lucid dreaming. So that could be another podcast that you can listen to before this one. But still, kick it off. Let us know how to lucid dream, and maybe a little synopsis of like what that looks like and what a little bit of your experience of that.
All right, so how to lucid dream. So yeah, so my experience is a brief overview. Like I started lucid dreaming on accident. Some people do, like they'll have lucid dreams without really realizing what it is. And I had a few of those before I even knew what lucid dreaming was. And it usually involved, because I was always a big fan of Spider-Man growing up. So I would always have lucid dreams where I'm like swinging on webs as Spider-Man. And that was in elementary school. Maybe a few where I was flying, but the ones where I was swinging as Spider-Man were more common. Um, so then I don't know, I start for some reason, I can't remember why. I started writing down my dreams. And I guess I thought, I guess I was just fascinated with dreams. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start writing them down in a journal because I wanna remember them. I wanna hold on to these memories, and I don't want to grow up and just forget about all these dreams. So I started doing that. I started writing down my dreams in a journal in elementary school, which is actually a technique to lucid dream, which I'll jump into in a little bit. But so I started doing that, and I also wrote down all the ones I could remember from elementary school. So those don't have dates. But then I started dating my dreams in middle school, and after middle school, high school, and high school is probably when I got into my. It's been a long time, so it's all my timeline's all messed up. But I think I probably got into lucid dreaming and first learned about it in high school, like actively trying to do it on purpose. So I learned what that means, and then I started learning about techniques to do it probably at the last half of high school. And I started having more and more dreams. My dreams are getting longer and more vivid, more detailed, crazier experiences, crazy long lucid dreams, like 4, 5, 8 pages worth of lucid dreaming experiences that I had of just one lucid dream. And so I think maybe in college that I really got more into the details of how, again, the timeline's messed up. It could have been high school, it could have been college. I don't know. When I started really getting into the mechanics of lucid dreaming, how to lucid dream. And then in grad school, I got even more specific about specific like techniques to lucid dream. And so I would say my college years, like undergrad, grad, was when I really learned the techniques and the research behind it as well, which I read books about, watched YouTube videos, read research articles. So what does that all mean? Well, I started noticing, and I heard this thing in research, that most people have lucid dreams in the early morning when REM sleep is the highest. For whatever reason, REM sleep tends to be more vivid and stuff like that, higher, I guess, in the early morning. I guess that as the sleep cycle is wrapping up. Um, so I noticed, in high school, I did have most of my lucid dreams were in the morning. And then I heard techniques where it's better to try to induce lucid dreams in the morning, because it just makes sense. All the research supports you have more lucid dreams in the morning. So yeah, so I figured that out. But to get on with the techniques, so first technique is you want to remember your dreams. And I don't know, Jose, like how well do you remember your dreams? Like
So I would say it takes practice, because I've noticed that when you started telling me about writing down your dreams, whether It was something simple, whether it was just a little bit about it, writing it down really helped to kind of the next time be able to remember my dream even better. And so it was almost like a practice of telling my body, saying, hey, this is something that's important, which is actually it comes back to our ancestors. Our ancestors actually used to wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning. Like you said, morning is a special time for like REM. They would wake up and tell each other's dreams,
Oh, that's cool.
which is interesting that our ancestors used to do that. So they themselves knew the power of waking up early and the power of dreams. And
Yeah,
so,
and that's another. Do we should in another podcast we need to talk about how civilizations put more value on dreams back then because that's
yes, dude, that would be a really cool podcast.
yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up, and also glad you mentioned that because that's what it's leading to is that writing down your dreams, you notice that you started remembering them more. A lot of people make
Yeah,
the mistake of saying, "Well, I don't have any dreams." It's like, no, no, no. We have dreams every night. We just don't remember them. So it's not that you're not having dreams; it's just that you don't remember them. But if you start writing them down,
because we don't found value in them, right?
yeah,
Our mind
a lot of people don't.
tends to uh, forget or remove things that
Yeah,
we don't found value in them,
yeah. So by
right? That's
writing
why
it
sometimes school is hard to remember things in school because we
down,
just don't find it valuable. It's just like goes sideways.
yeah, like people can remember all the sports stuff, sports team scores, and all that memory
Yeah,
comes to
their
math.
talent show or
Right. It's what you're interested in that you remember the most. And so if you show, and it could be an unconscious process, when you write down your dreams, you're telling your brain, I think unconsciously, that this is important, because you're actively making a physical decision and choice to write it down. And your brain is like, this must be pretty important. He's writing it down. And so
it's like the podcast about learning
I think
that
it's also maybe it's just exercising that memory too. The more you practice it,
yeah.
stronger it gets. So yeah, that's the first step right there. Right, start a dream journal. Write them down. Many people say, "Well, I don't know. I don't remember my dream last night. How am I supposed to write it down?" Well, it's like write down the last dream you remember, and write down even if it's a small detail, even if it's an emotion, anything you can remember, any tiny little speck. Write it down because soon enough, they'll start coming. They'll start coming to you. And that's what happened to me in high school. All of a sudden, I started having dreams every night, not just every night, but like all night long. Like I had like 5 or 8 dreams in one night. I'd be like struggling in the morning to write them all down before I forget. So when you're writing them down, it's helpful to take quick little notes. That way you can trigger memories because all it takes is like 1 or 2 notes to trigger the memory of in case you forget it. So
Yeah.
the second step is know when you're dreaming. If first off, if you can't remember your dreams, you're not going to know when you're dreaming, right? So you have to do that first. Second, if you don't know you're dreaming, how can you lucid dream? Because you have to be able to know when you're dreaming. You have to know you're in a dream to control the dream. So how do you get to that point? I mean, have you had any experience like that, Jose, where like were there any techniques you've ever used with trying to know you're in a dream, or have you ever been in a dream and you're like, wait, I'm dreaming, you know?
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, usually it happens, right? Like you said, in the morning when I wake up after I've been dreaming and I go back to sleep.
Yeah, that's a sweet
Like I
spot.
turn off my alarm and then I go back to sleep. But then my body knows that I'm going back into sleep. So when I start dreaming, I know that I'm sleeping, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's not like you're starting the night from the beginning. You just fall
Yeah, it's not like it just starts at midnight and then I
yeah.
realize
It's like you just
I'm
woke up and you know you're going back to sleep so that you're kind of like aware that you're
it's like preset. Yeah.
and that's kind of a technique in of itself is like using the intention and usually it is supposed to be in the morning because using that intention like I'm going to have a lucid dream and I'm aware that I'm actually going to sleep right now. So that's kind of like what you're doing almost actually. There is also some really cool techniques that you can do to make that even work even better. So like one is dream signs. So you want to look at your dreams in your dream journal and start finding patterns. And the most common patterns are what you want to go off of when choosing a dream sign. Because those are the things that reoccur in your dreams the most. So you're more likely to have a dream the next night with that same thing happening again. So you want to notice that, like what is different that's reoccurring in these dreams that's different from real life. Like for me, in dreams, spraying a web as Spider-Man was my dream sign because I did that a lot even before I learned about it. And so, like, whenever I think I'm dreaming, I'll try to spray a web, and if a web comes out, then I'm like, oh, okay, I am dreaming, and then I
Yeah.
continue. I lucid dream. It's like checking a reality check. So other people do things like look at clocks. If the clock changes and acts weird, then you're dreaming. Other people have very personal dream signs that's unique to them. Some people will like do the finger push the finger through the hand thing, which is a very common popular one. So like you do this like daily almost, and then you'll do it in a dream, and your finger will go through your hand, and you're like, oh, I'm dreaming. So like sometimes people will choose dream signs that they can do every day. So like checking a light switch, putting up a sign, am I dreaming? Asking themselves each day, like, I don't know, every few hours, am I dreaming? So that way, so the idea is that if you develop a habit of doing that, then you're going to carry that habit on into the dream because we dream about what we do in day to day life. So that habit of checking whether you're in a dream will carry on into your dreams because you'll dream about the habit of doing it in your dream. And then when you do it in the dream, something will go really weird. And then you're like, oh, I'm in a dream. So that's step two. And then step three, actually lucid dreaming. So step three is just taking it slow because I've told you before, like if you go too fast in a lucid dream, you get too excited, then you wake up. So you practicing meditation during the day, taking it slow when you have your lucid dream, uh, doing a technique like spinning around can stabilize the dream. My technique for stabilizing a dream when you feel it falling apart is to look at my hands. And usually the signs of it falling apart is it getting blurry, getting dark, or starting to just become distorted. So I'll just look and focus on my hands. And then it usually makes it go away. And then I can go back and then have clarity and continue onward. So step three is all about maintenance. And then I don't know what step four is. I mean, I guess step four could be like whatever you want to do. Like, do you, whatever your goal is. Some people to talk to their subconscious mind, to ask themselves questions, to explore deeper things in the dream, to revisit dead loved ones, get closure. So I don't know. Like, what do you think about all that?
Yeah, I mean that's interesting. It almost reminds me of like having an intention of when doing whatever. Like, why am I going to start a business? Why am I going to lucid dream? Right. So having an intention when starting to do something helps kind of lead the dream to a direction instead of just like aimlessly just doing whatever.
Yeah, doing whatever, right? And some people just want.
Well, but it also would be helpful to know what are the capacities of what you could do with lucid
Yeah,
dreaming.
the,
Is it just for you to create a world where you can do whatever you want, or like you said, maybe it's to talk to your consciousness? I didn't know you could do that.
yeah, people say, because any character in a dream is supposedly a projection of yourself, like of your subconscious mind. So talking to other dream characters is like talking to your subconscious mind, and people often ask dream characters questions about themselves, and sometimes they don't like the answers because it's brutally honest. I mean, it's your subconscious mind; it knows everything about you. So, and then another thing people warn about is they tell the dream to show them something that they're deeply afraid of or to scare them. And your subconscious mind knows your deepest, darkest fears. So many people regret that too. It's, so yeah, but another thing I want to briefly touch on a technique that can be really quick for beginners, I guess, is in the early morning, since that's when you have the most lucid dreams. And I use this for almost all my dreams, as we mentioned before, is you want to induce sleep paralysis. So you get into a comfortable state and try to lay on your back, ideally. Sometimes it works on my side too. And as you drift off to sleep, try to just not move. And what usually happens is I'll feel like a buzzing almost. And I'll feel my body kind of go really like, and it's hard to explain, like deeper, like I'll feel this deepness over my whole body. And I'll know I'm going into sleep paralysis, and I'll know that I'm drifting into a dream. And then that is basically the point where we talked about before. I leave my physical body in my dream body, and then I'm in the dream. And you want to make sure you're fully asleep before you do that. I think it's called oh man, I can't remember the name of it. I think it's called the wake induced lucid dream, the wild technique. Could be wrong on that. But I know there's a technique like that where you just induce sleep paralysis kind of like in the morning, and then you just leave you just go into the dream after you know that you're asleep. So that one, I mean, that one works for me pretty well. There's definitely other ones out there like intentions, like you mentioned, like having the intention every night that you're going to lucid dream and telling it to yourself, or listen to an audio recording, binaural beats for lucid dreams, subliminals for lucid dreams. Um, I was trying to think of all the techniques. And Phil online is like full of them, like really fast ones. One of them I heard about is a keyboard technique where you keep pretending like there's a keyboard, and you keep like, hey, this might work for you, is that you play piano. But you like
Yeah.
pretend like you're playing piano or working on the keyboard until you fall asleep. And the idea is that you're keeping your mind awake as your body falls asleep, so that when your body does fall asleep, you can just your mind's still awake, so you'll just go into a lucid dream.
Mm.
And that specifically in the sleep process one is all about being aware of what it feels like for your body to fall asleep. Because if you go out too early, then you're going to wake yourself up. So you have to know when the right time is to be safe to go into the lucid dream where you won't wake up. So yeah, I mean, those are the ones off the top of my head that I can think of. But
Is there things that you would recommend to people to be aware of, like to be careful of, I would say, when trying to lucid dream?
I don't know. I mean, I'm almost on the fence of like, it's a lucid dream. So like, you're not harming anyone. The only person you could possibly harm is yourself mentally, not even physically. So yeah, I mean, maybe there's a potential for psychological harm to yourself. I've heard of stories where people did things in lucid dreams, consciously, and then they feel guilty when they wake up and they feel that guilt. So I think it depends on the person too, because some people may not feel that way. So maybe like the only cautious thing is, you have to ask yourself what whether you feel like you would doing certain things in a lucid dream would affect you, I guess, mentally. And maybe just be careful with supplements too. Make sure you do your research before diving into lucid dream supplements. If you have a certain medical condition, talk with your doctor before trying it. You know,
Yeah.
so I mean, really, other than that, I mean, I can't think of anything else. Although the thing that I've actually had one a few times is getting my lucid dream mixed up with reality. So like, because lucid dreams are a form of memory, they're memories that we have experienced technically, and so it can be easy to kind of mix up dream memories with real memories of waking life. And that's happened a few times with me. Like, I'm like, oh wait, was that in a dream? Have you ever had that before?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes, like, yeah, I tend to ask my friends or family, like, hey, remember this conversation? And
Oh,
sometimes I realize, like, oh wow, that was actually in a dream that I had that conversation. It wasn't in real life.
that's
Yeah,
funny.
it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's funny when that happens, and some people do have it more severely than that. But is there any other things like, or is there any dangers you could see? Any cautions you could think of?
I think you kind of alluded to them pretty well. um I think that you provided a good structure of how to get into lucid dreaming. Um, some good techniques of how to basically start.
Yeah.
And so I would just say those are good pointers. I don't know if you have any other last thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, that's about all I can think of. I mean, the key thing is, keep a dream journal, write your dreams down so you can remember them. Then step two, um, start finding a pattern in your dreams so that you can know when you're dreaming. And to know when you're dreaming, you have to remember your dreams. So each step depends on the other. Pick a dream sign to help out with that, and then to get into the habit of recognizing when you're dreaming. Step three, go in a lucid dream and be cautious about it. Try to find ways to practice it where you don't wake yourself up, which is common in the beginning. And then step four, figure out what your goals are. What do you want to do what do you want to use lucid dreaming for?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, thank you guys for watching towards the end. Let us know what your experience is with lucid dreaming. Did these comments help you out? Let us know down below in the comment section, and also subscribe to our channel because we are going to continue providing amazing content for you guys, especially for this upcoming year, 2022. We wish you guys the best for this year, and we also hope that you can subscribe to our channel to continue following us in our journey. Until next time, we will talk to you soon. Take care.